Hi there guys, today I'm just going to be doing a quick review of my Vortex Race 3 RGB mechanical keyboard. This is a pre-built. I got mine with the Cherry MX Browns. If you get the non-RGB version, you can get it with a lot more switch types than just the standard red, brown, blues. For example, the non-RGB had the option of going with clears. In hindsight, I do personally wish I'd done that because I favored the clears of the browns myself, but there's a lot of subjectivity and switch preference and that kind of thing. And you know, the non-RGB is a little less expensive. At this point, this keyboard is a couple of years old though, so I personally think at this point in time, unless you find one for fairly cheap, there are probably better options. The Keychron Q1, 2, or 3 are personally what I would recommend if somebody's just looking for a really good pre-built out of the box. But I got this a couple years ago. Those didn't exist at the time, and I think this board does a couple things really well, and then a lot of things terribly. Well, maybe that's hyperbole, but a lot of things I'm not happy with, I'll say. One reason why I do wish I'd gone with the clears, though, is I'm not that blown away by this RGB implementation anyway, because it's not like you get key shine through or anything like that. Though it is nice to just find your keyboard in the dark, that kind of thing. It's a little bit cheaper to do the non, and the clears I like more because the tactile bump is bigger than on browns. I can't feel the tactile bump really at all on browns unless I press the key really slow. So they just kind of feel like linears that aren't buttery smooth to me. So I don't know, that's just my opinion. I'm a big fan of Cherry MX Blues, but you know, I play a lot of games, so the clicking comes through the headset and irritates people. So sadly, that's why I don't typically go with them, even though I think they feel really good to type on. I just get a lot of feedback, but I'm getting off track. For this board, it does come with PBT keycaps, so I like that a lot. I find the sound that they make is a little bit nicer on the PBT versus ABS caps. It's a little irritating because you can pull these keys off, but replacing them with other keycaps might be somewhat challenging because they have custom escape and delete keys, which are bigger than usual, so it looks a little awkward if you throw on a different key onto those. What I like most about this board, and why I went with it at the time, was I adore this layout. This is my favorite kind of layout. A 75% layout where it's condensed all together with no wasted space. I really like this. Since I play a lot of games, horizontal space is worth a lot because in first-person shooters, I like having a large amount of arm room, like as much as possible. I can't live without arrow keys, and I see no reason not to have function keys because vertical space doesn't really cost you anything in games because, you know, I've got all this space doing nothing. So that's my thought. I really like this layout. It's my favorite type of layout, personally. My biggest gripe with this keyboard is out of the box, the sound profile is not good. I really don't like it. I have tape modded mine, so I can't demonstrate exactly what it sounded like before, but there are a lot of videos online. The tape mod helped a lot. Without the tape mod, this is a super clacky sounding keyboard, and I just don't like the way it sounds out of the box at all. You know, if you watch some videos online of custom keyboards, some people mod theirs, or they, you know, buy more expensive boards that just have a much better sound profile, and they sound nice and thocky or creamy, as the buzzwords go. I took this apart, which isn't that hard, but you do need a jeweler's screwdriver with a cross-shaped head to take all the screws out, and the PCB should just fall out. I actually missed a couple screws the first time because they blend in really well because they match the same color under the keycaps. But I applied 3 or 4 layers of painter's tape just to the PCB. I actually went back and added another one. I took it apart again because I noticed that on the outsides it was not as effective with my first implementation. So with the tape mod, it did noticeably improve the sound profile, and I would personally recommend it to anybody who does have this board. The spacebar I couldn't improve as much as I wanted, though, because the problem there is you can hear a rattle when I hit it, and that's just, I think, because of the stabilizers. I could take it out and lube the stabilizers, and that would probably make this sound much, much better. But that's a lot of effort because I will probably upgrade to another board soon. So this is probably where I'm going to leave it, because the tape mod is fairly simple to do once you watch a guide on it and know what you're doing. But yeah, I would say the sound profile is probably my least favorite thing out of the box for this. They do give you a metal base. I believe it's aluminum. I might have that wrong, but I appreciate that. But just, I love when keyboards have metal bases because it makes them feel a lot more premium to me. The feet on this board, I'm not a big fan of, because on like the Ducky One 2 line, which was from around the same time, you had those fold out legs. I like that. Some keyboards let you have adjustable height on the legs, so you want to do that. So what I've done when I want to tilt it higher is I've just made these paper towel things and I stick it under each leg, and then I can tilt it a little bit higher. But I wish I didn't have to do that. But anyway, at the time, the whole reason I pushed for this, I had a 1-2 Mini as well, but I ended up getting this afterwards because I found very quickly that I cannot live without arrow keys, and I prefer this layout to the Mini, although, you know, maybe the Ducky 1-2 line, which is relevant at the same time this was, they do have versions with function keys and arrow keys, but they're not in quite the same kind of condensed layout, and I really like the way that this board looks. They do give you some extra caps of the box if you want to switch the colors around. I'm personally just going with the yellow because I think it looks nice. Sometimes I run all gray though, because the problem is when you put all the colored keycaps on, it sort of looks like a Tonka toy to me. But again, there's a lot of subjectivity in that. I recognize that. The cable, some of the boards now, like the Keychron Q1, for example, I think out of the box, they come with those nice spiraled cables that look beautiful that you can line across the top. It's the switches are soldered on. You can't hot swap them out. Again, it is hard to kind of replace the keys with your own, though you can because of these weird keys at the top. Man, I really wish more boards would start doing what Keychron is doing on a lot of their newer line, and some do, in fairness. I mean, you can buy a more expensive custom where they factory lube the switches for you, and you know, where they have better stabilizers and things like that. So I think at the time that I got this, it was probably like $180, and I don't, in hindsight, think it was worth that price. I think there were better options even back then. If you can find this board for pretty cheap, like if I could get this used for $100 and then tape mod it, then maybe lube the stabilizers, then it's fine. You know, it's a good board, especially if you can get it with the switch type that you prefer. For me, going forward, I am very much looking forward to upgrading to a proper gasket mount board that has hot swappable switches so that I can actually buy whatever switches I want and use them at any time. Because I just find I get tired when I'm using it at times and I like to rotate. Some people, you know, they don't mind. They just put it in and use it. So if you just want one that works, I don't... To me, the sound profile is the biggest thing. I keep coming back to that, but it really sounded bad to me out of the box. Oh, and the other thing to note is there was some controversy around this board. I saw on, you know, the keyboard review subreddits and things like that, where they found that some of the, I don't know if some of the screw holes, but some piece internally was rusting away in a lot of cases because it hadn't been treated properly. And so Keychron denied this on, I mean, not Keychron, Vortex denied this, I think, on Twitter, but then it came back that it really was happening. So some people's boards didn't last maybe as long as they should. So that's not good. But, I mean, it's been a good board for gaming, I would say. Not as good as I would want. I think I will probably upgrade at some point in time soon, but everything's sold out right now, so this is what I got. And it's all right, you know, the tape mod helped a lot. But yeah, if you can find one cheap, sure. I personally think the Ducky One 2 line, if you can find one for around the same price, is probably better overall, just from a typing experience. But I really dig this layout, which is why I did it. So thank you for your time, and have a good one. Bye.